purpose of recording is so that the people who are not able to make the session can listen in some other time and also learn. Okay, so we'll go right into today's session. Thank you once again, everyone. To start, I'd like to remind every one of us that the whole vision for my HR Story Live Series is to have a platform where we can all learn from one another, no PowerPoint, no script, just for us to talk one to another. This is because research has shown that when people share stories, people can relate more to stories, and there's a strong sense of connection that comes with storytelling. So basically, we use the platform to tell stories, also for speed mentoring from people that have gone ahead of us in their various careers, so that we can learn from their successes, what has worked for them in terms of the principles that they've applied. And of course, what have been the mistakes that they've all made as well. We ask them to please feel free, be vulnerable to share so we can learn. Overall, the intent is for us to have fun, learning, listening to stories that would make impact to our lives. Once again, thank you, everyone. I'll quickly play an intro video, and afterwards, I'll read the profile of our guest speaker today. She's in the house already, and I'm excited, and I believe you all are equally excited to have her join us. She's someone that I admire so much, a big sis of mine. We attend the same church, and amazingly as well, she wrote the foreword for the book, my HR Storybook. I remember speaking to her about the vision that I had around storytelling and sharing and mentoring for younger ones. From my experience, having struggled to get the attention of a mentor for a while, and immediately she encouraged me, she bought into the vision, and she made some time out of her busy schedule to read the book back to back and wrote a foreword for that book. Thank you so much, sis. I am honored and I'm humbled to have you in our midst. So we'll go right ahead and play the introduction video before I read out her profile. Thank you. One sec. Identity and your brand. So if Bolaji had given you that target to be the top 5 person in the industry, thank you and welcome everyone once again. So we'll just go right ahead and I'll read out her profile. Okay, Odunayo Sanya has 24 years of postgraduate work experience in the education, banking, development, and telecom sector in Nigeria. She currently serves as the General Manager, Planning and Customer Management at MTN Nigeria. Prior to this, she served as the Acting Executive Secretary of the MTN Nigeria Foundation, where she led the team to deliver on strategic projects in alignment with the Sustainable Development Goals, national priorities, and the company's CSR objectives. She joined MTN Nigeria in 2005 and has overseen various customer initiatives which have contributed to the creation of a differentiated customer experience for MTN customers. I'm particularly excited and I'm looking forward to her sharing with us in terms of customer experience, because I think that is one key area that is beginning to gain a lot of attention in terms of creating employee experience, customer experience. So it would be nice to really glean from my experience in that area. So Odunayo is knowledgeable in customer experience management, business process outsourcing, customer intelligence analytics, contact center management, billing services, retail management, operations management, collections and credit management. She is adept at conceptualizing and implementing innovative customer-centric practices and procedures to improve efficiency within an organization. She is an author. She's a certified coach, a speaker and trainer with John Maxwell team. Odunayo has presented papers at the IRR, Telecoms Loyalty and Chon conferences in Binal and Nice, France. She is a mentor on the platform of WISCA, Women in Successful Career, and it's such an honor to have her here come mentor us speedily in terms of how we can make progress. She is a sought-after speaker and facilitator. Odunayo is passionate about leadership. For me, leadership, nation building, youth and women empowerment. Her book, The Alphabets of Leadership for Young Minds, is listed in the United States Library of Congress. Odunayo is the convener of the Thrive Circle, a powerful movement, a community. I was privileged to speak to them about 2 weeks ago at that community, and it was such a powerful session, having to mingle with like minds within her community, and it's such an honor. In that community where basically the focus is it's a mentorship platform where she's mentoring people, making some time out of her busy schedule. The Thrive Circle is a platform for individuals seeking growth and success. She's married and she's happily married and blessed with 3 children. Please, can we put our hands together virtually as we welcome our special guest speaker at today's session. Today's session, in commiseration of our IWD team, Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 world. We are happy to have you, Odunayo, join us today as we celebrate women in this special month dedicated to women around the world, International Women's Day. So please, can we welcome Odunayo? Thank you everyone. We welcome Odunayo. Sis, over to you. It would be nice to just hear your story. How did it all start out for you? Was your career planned? Were you very clear where you were going in next 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, now 24 years counting? How did you have all of that well put together? It would be nice to hear from you. Thank you, sis.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for having me, Lara. Like you said, Lara is my sister. She's my family member, so to speak. And I'd like to thank everyone. Now I'm clapping for everyone who's coming. It's for me, I don't take it lightly that you allow me to come into your space on a Sunday afternoon, and so I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's joined. So you've asked, how did it all start and all of that? Well, going through school like everyone did, I just knew I wanted to do something great. By the way, I changed careers multiple times. At a point, I wanted to be a diplomat. At a point, I was never a science student. So I'm not one of those people who tell you they wanted to be doctors and all of that. No way. Even though, I happened to have, I actually wrote chemistry in my WAEC, but I knew I was not a science student. And so going into the university, my parents kind of encouraged us to be open-minded, and I'll tell you why. And I learned one of my earliest lessons from them, and that is, everywhere is home. And the reason I say this is that my parents, most of us, except the last 2 in the family, where I come from a family where we have 7 children, 5 girls and 2 boys. And, we went to school far from home. So we went to places like FGGC New Busa. I'm sure some people don't even know where that is.
No, New Busa. I went to FGGC Busa, so I can tell.
Okay, that's where the Kanji Dam is for people who don't know where it is. You know, and so we were encouraged to, it wasn't an issue for them to have us go far, you know, from home and trying to get into the university. I'd filled in, you know, everyone wants to go to Unilag, that's the truth. And so I filled in, I wanted to go to Unilag after going far for my secondary school. And then one day my dad just sees in the papers, there's a new university coming up. The university, by the way, is University of Abuja. And the advert was in the papers. And my dad just showed me that, do you want to apply for this thing so that your options can be, you can have better, you know, wider options. And I thought, for me, it wasn't a case of, oh, it's a new university. So we filled the form and, you know, it was submitted. Apparently, everything I had on there, I think I had Unilag and then I had Ibadan and then I had Unilag as my third choice, was moved to Abuja. And so bottom line is that I got admission into the school. I didn't know anybody there in Abuja. I didn't, but having gone to secondary school, and my parents just believe, you know what, this is Nigeria. We're Nigerians. It's really not about where we, you know, we're staying where you are and just being there. And so I did get the admission, and of course, the rest is history. Now, while in school, if I tell you that I had a clear vision, like some people always say, the vision wasn't clear. The vision was not clear, but I knew there was a vision, no matter how blurry or how blurred it was. And I wanted one thing. I wanted to be the best in anything that I did, in my own way. It wasn't about competing with others. And so, yes, I did go through school. And my first lesson, you know, is that you have to bring something to the table. If you're going to grow your career, if you're going to even have a career at all. And look, when we talk about career, I always tell people my definition of career is not only when you work 9 to 5. Your spiritual life is a career. Your life as a spouse is a career. Your life as a mother, a father, you know, is a career. So is that, for me, is the totality of the upward progression that we make as we journey through life. And so I kind of put in my best. Yes, I could have done better, but hey, I did what I could do. And I came out of school, not with a first class, but I came out, I think I missed the first class by 0.1. That was yes, it was really bad, you know, but that's how many years ago now, so it's over. So I did miss it by that narrow, and I did get somewhat of what you call a good result. Now, coming out of school, I wanted to work, that's the truth. I didn't want to go back to school immediately. And so I wanted to do, I wanted to, you know, work and do something. I desperately wanted, I didn't want my parents, you know, taking care of me. Now they've done enough. I wanted to, and so I started, I spent, so by the way, I went for my youth service in a place I knew nobody. I refused to, and I'm not saying that people should do that, but that was my own, you know, that was the choice I made. I was posted to Cross River State. I'd never been there. My parents tried all they could to get me to someone says they should be using approximation for CGP. It doesn't work like that to my sisters and my brother. He's my brother. So they tried to get me to change. I needed to fill some forms. And every time, in fact, there was a day my dad got his friend who happened to, he worked in NYC, and the man came and brought the forms. I saw the man coming and I just took the back door. I just walked out of the house. And just because I felt, you know, So I'm a God person. I love God. I try in my little way to serve him. I'm not the best, but we're all work in progress. And so I told God that I would go anywhere I was posted to. And when the posting came out, I saw Cross River State. And then I said, Odunayo, you could have changed this thing and all of that. So I did go. I went to Cross River State. I served in a place called Upa. It's a village. It's a 4-hour drive from Calabar. Not about 5 hours drive from Calabar. Because it's in Ogoja, because it's 4 hours drive from Obubra, the camp, where the camp was. When I got there, after you've been so pumped up, you want to do anything. When I got into the environment, I started praying, God, will these people reject me? But deep inside me, I knew I wasn't going to get it. They rejected a few other people that came. But I just kind of knew I wasn't going to get a rejection letter. And so I came back home. My parents were asking me, do you really want to change? Do you want to do this and all of that? And I said, you know what? I just told my dad, I said, Daddy, I made a vow to God. Let me go through. Not that if I changed, God was going to flog me. No, nothing was going to really happen, but I just felt I could go through it. And I did go through it. I was a teacher. And at that point, when I had to teach these children, I knew that there was so much more to life. They were even in a place where, I'm sorry to say, the government didn't even know they existed. And I've been back there since, I went back there with my husband when we got married anyway. We took a drive. We tried to do a drive around Nigeria, and we stopped by there. And so looking at those children, I knew that we all just had to be more. There was more to what we could be and all of that. And I did, finish. So I was. The truth is that for 6 months, teachers were on strike. I don't know what was causing the strike. So for like 6 months, I wasn't there, but I was resident there for 6 months. And, it was a place where you would actually drink the water from the stream. It was a place where, it was just, for me, it was a blessing that I did that. And I came back home and I told my parents, I wanted to rest till the end of the year. I wasn't going to look for a job. So by the time I started looking for a job, I wasn't an accountant or anything, but the financial sector was, and it's still one of the, apart from you have telco, the telecommunications sector, you have the financial services sector, and you have the oil sector. Those are the 3 major sectors that thrive in terms of employment in Nigeria. And great enough, we have the small and medium businesses coming up. And I believe that it's going to be great when that sector really matures and that we can reduce the unemployment rate the level of unemployment in the market. And so I started looking for a job. And this was 1996. And bottom line is that everywhere I got to do an aptitude test or to do something was in a bank. I say, God I really don't want to work in a bank. I don't know anything about accounting or anything. So, but bottom line is that I got a job. Now, the day, and that was the first lesson, the second lesson in my career. I've talked about the first one. Now, when I got the letter to come do the test in a bank called Chartered Bank, they ended up as part of IBTC, the Stanbic group, when the consolidation happened in 2005. I was curious because you know what? I didn't drop my CV in that place. And I'm like, okay, let me go and write the test and see this thing. And I did the test. The day I was coming, and I was really curious as to how did my CV get into this place? Now, you know what? Every time I went into a bank, the office I went into straight was the CEO or then they were MDs. They weren't CEOs, they were MDs. I was there to see the managing director. And the only reason that happened, first of all, for me, was the grace of God. The second thing was that there has to be something that you have. What is in your hand? What also opened the doors? They were fascinated by my CV kind of, in terms of having come out, yes, not with the first class, but with the best results and having gotten some awards. And so the doors opened. I was seeing the CEOs. I had no clue. I was just, just fresh from, and we'll talk, they'll say, will ask me, when do you want to come and write your test? And I'll give them a time and I'll go and write the test. And I was laughing all through, and I'm like, okay, God, where is this thing leading to? Bottom line, back to chat back. So I did get the letter, and I walked in. And when I walked in, I was told to see the DMD then. And the man comes to the reception and says, then, of course, my maiden name, who is Odunayo Moritiwa? And I said, I'm the one. So it looked like there was something in my throat. So he was saying that, why am I not talking? I needed to clear my throat. I now said nothing. So, he told me something I never forget. I never met him, but he told me something. He said, he thought and yes, there was part of, there's always that part of with some fear. And he told me something. He said, Odunayo, go into that room with this thing at the back of your mind. He said, the people that are going to interview you, maximum, when you were in Form 1, they were in Form 5. I never met this man. He said, so go in there and just enjoy yourself. And so I did go. So I did it. In fact, by the time I came for the second, the second level of the interview, we were gisting all through. And then I got the job. I got the job, and I made up my mind that, I'll give my best. And like I say, my best may be somebody else's better. But in my own corner, it is my best. It might be somebody else's good, but as far as Odunayo is concerned, that is my best. And so I made up my mind that, I will give my all to wherever I find myself, and I would impact the people that work with me. Fast forward, yeah, it was time. I'd spent about two years and 10 months in the bank. And the adventurer in me just felt, you needed to go do another, go get another job. And while I was in that bank, of course I was single. I lived alone. Good enough, I was taken back to Abuja to start, as part of the pioneer staff, to start the branch. Now, because I had I was a student there, it became easier. And I did go back. Of course, my parents will never tell me not to go. And so I jumped in, and I was there. Now, the day I had to go tell, so when I started interviewing for many banks, MBCom was there was a bank called City Express, and I got the letters for the role. But I just kept thinking there had to be more. And then Standard Trust Bank comes along, and that's UBA today. And I took time off, and I said I needed to go to Lagos. My parents live in Lagos, so I want to go see my parents. I was really going for the interview. And so when I got to the interview, I told them in the branch that I wanted to go see my parents. The first person I ran into, my head of operations niece was also there to do as part of the process. I said, oh God, So of course I knew she had told them that, oh, she saw me at an interview, blah, blah, blah. So they gave me an offer. I know then everybody had to sit on Lumelu. So after seeing him, I got an offer. And I felt, this offer wasn't good enough for me. I didn't know anybody. I had no clue. I didn't know anybody, but I was convinced that no, even though, yes, I had almost 3 years work experience, this couldn't be it. There had to be more. I didn't know anybody. And I walked back and I told them, I said, you know what, this offer isn't mine. I believe that I deserve something better. And the head of HR looked at me then and was like, who is this girl? Because I'm a small person by size. who is this girl, blah, blah, blah. They took it and told me to come back on Monday. So I called them at the branch, say I'm coming on Monday. And they did change the letter. So the second lesson is that, you see, it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt at all to lay your opinion, or to share your opinion, or to ask for what you believe is due you. Look, let me tell you, when you're asking, you'll be shaken with fear and trepidation. But go ahead and ask. The worst that would happen is a no. It doesn't kill. It doesn't hurt. I learned that. And you know, for me, it was even easy. I said, if they say no, I go back to my job. Nobody sent me away. So they did switch the letter. And I went back to the branch. Unfortunately, and I say this for the leaders among us, I know time is going, I'm going to try to fast track. It's good for us to see things from the other person's point of view. And it's good for us to understand that the people that we lead, there's more to them. You know, let's not confine them to the box of work. Yes, they must do their work, but understand that they have capacity to be more, you know, even beyond work. So by the time I went back to the branch on Monday, of course, when I showed my dad and mom the letter, my mom was okay. My dad said, hey, you want to go and work with Odunayo? He has read and heard that these people are cowboys and all of that. I said, Daddy, don't worry. Just pray for me and things will work. You know, because at times people hear various things and just assume that that's the, so I said, pray for me and things will work. And I did go back. You know, my head of operations then, he met me with, there was a lot of hostility. And he was like, they saw me at this. At that point, I said, yes, they saw me, I was there. And he said that whatever respect, because I worked, I took work home, I did everything. Work was my life. I would do other people's work, I would do everything. He said, and I used to tell him, I said, Mr. Gordy, let other people learn this thing I'm doing. I also learned it. I didn't know it. He will say, no, I don't want anybody to come and spoil the books. I don't want anybody to spoil the reconciliation. I don't want anybody. I used to tell him, and that's another lesson I took out. Let's not, as leaders, we're tempted to be drawn to people that are like us, or people that, you know, are self-motivated. No, there are times we must give everybody a chance. There are times it is that person that you need to push that brings the best innovation to the team. And so because I think he met me with so much hostility, I didn't mean to say it then, but I found myself saying, by the way, I am resigning. I started laughing at myself. And I said, hey, you said it, now you can't take the words back. But because he was, you know, he was mounting pressure, and I've told you what happened. Can we stop talking about this thing? And so I told him, I said, by the way, I'm resigning. He now asked me, he said, do I even have, the employment letter? I now brought from my bag. I had 4 employment letters I've been carrying around, for goodness sake. I said, look, I have this, that I haven't said anything, but the way that you have spoken to me, I'm sorry, I need to leave. You know, at that point I could talk because I'd made up my mind at that point now to leave. So I now walked upstairs to my branch manager's office and I said, Alaji, I am leaving. So as I was going, he just called me back. He calls me Ayo. He said, Ayo. He said, sit down. He said, all the while you were here, did you go on leave? I said, no. And I think that's the exuberance of just a young single lady. And please, if you're still very young on this platform, take your leave, you know, rest your head, take off time when you need to. But I was just working away. Do you know what he did? He sat me down and he taught me how to write my resignation letter. He said, you're not going to resign. You're going to say you write the letter. He dictated the words for me. He said, I am proceeding on a terminal leave. He calculated my leave. I had 3 months leave. He said, you know what? You're going to be earning salary in 2 places when you've left.
Wow.
You know what? I wrote the letter and I submitted it. And true to time, by the time I resumed, they were still paying me in Chartered Bank for 3 months because I could have just resigned and moved on. I had no clue around take your leave and all of that. But we could do that because I had added value. And I don't say this from a point of being boastful. But when you add value to a place, when you give back to a place and leave the place better off, look, you will find help. People will look out for you. He looked out for me to the point that when I was in Standard Trust, of course, there were no GSM phones. I got a call that day. And by the way, I got into commercial banking in Standard Trust. I had no clue what credits were and all of that. Even though I used to read through credits and, I'm the kind of person who would want to know more. I would want to know, more. And so because of that, I would read credits. I wasn't in the credit team, but I would read. And then I got into marketing. You have to go and bring deposits. You have to. But, I survived it. People thought, people used to say STB was sorrow, tears, and blood. That was what the STB was then. And I survived it. And then one afternoon, I was seated at my desk, and then I got a call, and I was told to come pick it at the front desk. I really don't know how they got the number and all of that. And it was someone I respect so much. We call him AA, Akinshola Akinfenwa. Remember the deputy MD I talked about in my first? He was calling me, and he said, because I learned he had left Chartered Bank, but I didn't know what he was going to do. So he picked up the call. Of course, I let him know I was leaving. And then my branch manager had been hounding me, send your CV, send your CV. I'm like, I'm leaving the bank. What is this one with my CV? But I still sent him the CV. So I got the call and I hear the voice. My name is Akinshola Akinfenwa. I'm like, no, this man has found me again. So he tells me about Prudent Bank. The bank was starting and he wanted me to join. And I thanked him and I said, yeah, I would like to join. I had been in STB for only about 6 months, 6 months, 7 months. And when I wanted to leave, when I wrote my resignation, my area manager refused to collect the resignation. He said he wasn't going to collect it, he wasn't going to do this, he wasn't going to do that. And of course, eventually he accepted, collected it. And I found that my former branch manager then in Chartered Bank was now the area, he was now a DGM then, who had the oversight over the northern region. So everything was now coming back together. It was flowing back like a river. And of course, I worked I was now back to, at that time, I was already head of operations, now back to operations. And we had to start the branch from ground zero. We did a lot of work. And someone asked me one day, one of my senior colleagues, and she said that she finds that I had moved. She was also in that this banks that I went to, did I know anybody there? I said, no, I don't know anybody there. You know what she told me? She said she can't go and work in a place where, where she doesn't know anybody. I said, we're different. I said, for me, my father, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Anywhere I go, God is there. I said, and my father created all these people. Therefore, things will work out. And that's another lesson. A lot of times we need to step out of our comfort zone. You need to take a plunge from time to time. So I did Abuja, got married, was transferred back to Lagos. The way I met my husband was a customer in the bank I worked with. I actually met him on the phone. That's a story for another day. So, we moved back to Lagos. I went to, still in Prudent Bank. And then I take my sister for a career. This was 2000, and this wasn't 2000. This was 2000, yeah. This was 2004, thereabout, December. I took my sister who had just finished school from the University of Maiduguri. You know, I told you that my parents they like risk. So my younger sister went to Maiduguri. We don't know anybody there, and so I did take her for the fair. We filled the forms and then we walk into Philip's consulting booth. And there's this guy, I just remember his name as Peter. If the guy stands in front of me today, I have no clue what he looks like. And then I say, oh, my sister is looking for a job. She just finished, da, 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 da. And he goes, why don't you want to change your job? I said, I don't want to change my job, but I'm very comfortable where I am. The people that I'm working with, they believe in me, they encourage me. They do. We'll talk about my sister. He'll come back to me again and say, why don't you want to change your job? I said, I'm not changing my job. I'm reporting to my CEO directly. I was head of internal control, even though there was a chief inspector, but I was reporting to the CEO directly. So there was no pressure to leave where I was. The whole executive committee were my friends. We used to talk, even though I was a deputy manager then. And he went on and on. So I said, okay, I've heard you. This is my card, but send me something for my sister. That was a Friday. Monday, he sends me 3 roles. And the rest is history. He sent me 3 roles. I picked the one that I felt I was most comfortable with. And that was, apparently was empty and I had no clue. So I they interviewed me and went to MTN for an interview. It was after I finished my interview with MTN that MTN now asked, where's my CV? So I now sent to them. And the rest is history. Working with people, I must tell you, it's not been rosy, all 100%. I started with MTN as a manager, and I had to do my senior manager interview 3 times. We have a flat structure. We don't promote. So no matter how good you are, that you have to interview for it. I did it 3 times. And it was, for me, I didn't let it get to me. I was, every time there was a project in the organization, I stepped forward. So another lesson is that when life answers, we say, yes, present, sir, present, ma. That is the thing. When life calls, when there's something to be done, step up. Even if you have no clue what they are talking about, the way, it's amazing the way God has created and wired our brains. We pick things up. And that's why we learn, we can learn. And so I refuse to be blindsided by, the organization doesn't appreciate you. People will come tell you silly things. And I'm like, nobody knows how I got here. And so I better face my own and keep going. So after doing that the 3rd time, I got the role the 3rd time. Remember, the years were rolling. Now, from SM, you become a GM. I was a senior manager for 8 years. And that's the time I term the time of the famine, or the time where there's a drought in your career, because we'll face it from time to time. There were mega issues. I had issues with my boss. I had issues with my boss to the point that he took me to a disciplinary hearing. I went through the disciplinary hearing. Yeah, someone might say, oh, you know what? I'm so proud of my career. I've never had a disciplinary hearing. I could tell you I got that badge. And that makes me a general. You understand? It makes me, I've been through the trenches. I've been there when it was like nothing. The day I got the letter for the disciplinary hearing, I was like, God, how did I end up here? At times you need that check. He moved me, he redeployed me, he did this, he did that. It's a different story altogether. The truth is, we're friends today. Now he comes to my office, he sits on my visitor's chair, but we get on along. And you see, life is about times and seasons. That is the truth. So when leadership positions, or when we are even a team member with other people, plant good seeds, nurture it. And so there were other politics playing on. I wasn't supposed to get a role as a GM. I got the role, and he wanted somebody else. But I went for the role, I got it. And it was after I got that role, he sends a mail. He's redeployed me. I was reporting directly to him. He's redeployed me to report to another GM. And then he sent a mail to my CEO then. And he said, you know, the person who got the job can't do the job. And I smiled and I said, you know, I wasn't supposed to know about the memo, but people saw the memo. And because when you're very plain with people, don't play two-faced with people. They see through it. You do your job, you're not bootlicking, forgive my French. People will see you for what you are. And senior people came back to tell me what happened and all of that. And you know, I told you that God is my father. The only thing I told God, I said, you know what? Nobody's going to sit in that chair. Nobody, if I am the one that got the job, that memo won't be signed. My brothers and my sisters, the memo was never signed. So that role remained vacant, even though I didn't get there. But I told God, I said, if I got this job, truly, the memo can be signed and I'll be here. It's not because I am holy, so let me not, it's not because, but you know, God heard me and that prayer was answered. And I was there. You know what? I went through the disciplinary hearing. That year, I recall, I didn't get a bonus and I didn't get a salary increase. But you know what? I told myself, and I told my husband is one of my greatest, you know, cheerleaders. He said, look, Odunayo, you can't leave. Let this thing sort itself out. You can now leave after. I finished the disciplinary hearing and all of that. You know, it was like I didn't go through anything. My voice became louder in the organization. You know, I will do things. I put myself out there for responsibilities. I will do, even though there was a place in my heart where I hurt. But I said, no. I said, this one, we're going to dig it together. In the same division, my voice was louder, everything. And at the end of the day, by the time I did it the third time, and I keep telling God that, you know, maybe it's about the Trinity. So 3 in 1. So I have to do it 3 times. And I by the time I did it, you know, the third time, it was okay. But those 8 years, I could have thrown up. I did interviews. I did interviews with banks. They wanted me. But I just knew that it wasn't it. And that's why you have to be clear. So like I said, I didn't write it down on paper to say, oh, my career in 5 years, I must do this. I think for me, it's always been, I must impact people the most. I must impact people. But of course, looking out for myself, growing. In that period, I took courses in business schools, did a lot of things. Because I reckoned that if I couldn't grow, vertically, I could grow horizontally. And I find that it was something that I needed because in the future, I would encourage other people who maybe weren't facing a disciplinary hearing, but there was a drought in their career. And faith and the fact that I was fully convinced right from when I was in school that there was more. There was much more to me. That every time I become, there's more to me than what I've become. And so I was convinced. I started doing things outside the office, not necessarily earning money, but I was enabling other people to build their dreams. And then, you know, the role came. And mind you, I had rejected, I think, 2 offer letters that I didn't take. And then, you know, I took on the role and I had to do a project. And my boss called me and said, look, Odunayo, I want you to do this project. This was about five years ago. We needed to outsource our call center. I wasn't directly in the call center, but he gave it to me. The project was about 30 billion then, 30 billion naira worth, the contract. And you know, the year before then, I was looking at my developmental needs, and I said, you know what, I need to begin to understand how to negotiate and run contracts. I had no clue this was coming. And so I'd gone for courses, some by myself. And you know what? Let me tell you something. We need to take our development into our hands. I'm yet to see an organization that when anyone leaves, they take off our heads and keep it somewhere in a freezer and say, you can't take away this knowledge that you've taken. The only thing you take when you're leaving an organization is your body, this head, your intellect, the capacity you build. And so you must build it. Don't wait for anyone. Don't wait and say, HR, you have not sent me on training. HR, you have not done this. HR will never send you on training. Take it from me. Because early in life, I always used to tell myself that if I can't do this thing for myself, why should someone else do it for me? I know there's a place of the grace of God. But if I have some funds and I cannot use it to check myself in for maybe a training at LBS or wherever I want, then I'm expecting somebody else to do that thing for me. I think, I'm being unfair. And so please take your developmental, the organization will only do so much. And we've all switched to digital. We've switched to, and you see, whether we would like it or not, organizations have limited resources. You understand? Yemi says we're not that bad. I know HR is not that bad, but I'm sure you will agree with me, my brother. I think that's another brother of mine there, a HR guru. You will agree with me that a lot of us need to take these things into our hands. Because you know what? The things I have learned, my organization has benefited from it. There are things that I have learned personally. I bring it to the organization and people are better off. Look, that's a cheap way of being a star in your organization. Take it from me. When you go learn something, you come back, and you are just talking, they'll say, where did this person come from? They won't know that you had to learn it. And so that's an easy way of gaining visibility within your organization. And so for me, that's been my story. And so we did the outsourcing. It was a massive project. You had to sit with regulators, you had to sit with this, sit with that, because we're moving about almost 4,000 staff to a service provider. We're changing technology, doing all of that. But I told myself, I said I would do that project. Even though I knew next, you understand, I've not done a project that's of that magnitude. I said what? I told my boss, I said, don't worry. You want me to do it, Abby? I said, it's done. And you know what? That thing had been attempted. That was the 5th attempt in my organization at outsourcing. The first project meeting I called, a very good friend of mine, a brother of mine, really, he meant no harm. He said, Odunayo, we have come again. This thing is not going to work. I looked at him in the meeting. Everyone was there. I called his name. I said, this is a different season. I told him, I said, this thing, it will happen. He said, and I said, don't worry. And then I think he now realized I was talking with a lot of conviction. He stopped there. He couldn't tell me again that. I just told him, I said, there's one thing I need from you. And you are either in or you are out. There were people there. I said, because he was in charge of the call center. I said, you are either in or you are out. So tell me now, you will continue to be my brother. So when he realized that this was not a joke, and we ran that project. Of course, that's one among many. Even the ones I don't know, I'll put my head, I say, I want to be part of this thing. So, and that has helped me. It's helped me, yes, largely my career. I've been in customer experience and all of that. But that role has given me the breadth I need in the organization. And in many organizations, other organizations I've worked with, it helped me, build my network that if I need something today, even the people a level ahead of me, they would want to help me. And so it helps when you put yourself out there. Don't think about what the organization can do for you. Was it Martin Luther who said it? Don't think about what your country can do for you. Think of what can you do. Don't wait for the change to happen. Be the change that you want to see, in others. And like they say, the rest is history. MTN, of course, is a very fantastic place to work. I've tried so many things. It's given me the opportunity. But the opportunity because I also wasn't hiding. I wasn't robbing myself as better off than every other person. No. And there's one thing I did. My team members are my friends. Right from when I was in the bank, when we would close late, I would drive and drop my team members at the different bus stops that were closest to their houses. I wasn't the organization's staff boss, but we couldn't have worked that late. And I watched them, go and just take on public transport. So I would drive along the Ikorodu Road and drop them, to the point that one of my team members, actually, we're all very mature now. He named his daughter after me, and I was like, wow, I was humbled. I'm like, really? We need to be there for our team members. I'll tell you about another team member of mine that was abducted. This was about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, thereabout. December 23rd, we just finished a conversation in the office. The next thing, the wife calls me. He's been kidnapped right in front of their gate. And I'm like, God, what am I going to do? This is my team member. That was the day I realized that you are your team member. They're not just coming to work. You are supposed to be praying for them. You are supposed to have them and, cater for them, not giving them money, or that's not what I'm saying, but their well-being. And I had to speak with his wife twice every day. There were times I didn't know what to say. How do you talk to someone whose wife had been kidnapped? I had to send a mail to the whole executive team saying that, this is the situation, this is what is happening. We tried to track, we were doing all of that. But the most emotional and painful part for me was every time in the morning, in the evening, that I pick up my phone to speak with his wife. Eventually, we raised money and all of that, and he was released. It was just a miracle. And that day I realized that, look, my team members, they are not just coming to work. So if you ask me, I know my team members, I know they are the name of for the men, their wives are my sisters. So when I call, I say, how's my sister? For the women, their husbands are my brothers. How is my brother? I know the names of their children. It's not because of anything, but I realized that as a leader, the responsibility that you have with your team members, very great. Another thing for me, and it has helped me in my career, is that I realized a long time ago, my team members they're not fighting with me. It's not a popularity contest. Let me use that word, that phrase. So for me, I push my team members out there. Go. You will want to do the presentation. Go and, sorry, my daughter was trying to tell me something. It's okay. Go and, I missed my trail of thoughts, but go and present. Yeah, I got it back. So a lot of times I would have to do a presentation to the executive, when I was a senior manager, to the executive team. I'll carry my team members along and they must speak. It's not that I will now be the one talking and they're keeping quiet. I tell them, I don't have a problem. Go to the ED, to my executive director, just go and rub minds with her. I don't have a problem, because you know what? It's not a competition. We're building each other. And I think that is what we need, to do with our team members. And even if you're supervising a team, very important. Now, if you're a team member, you also owe that. You look out for your team members. You ensure that, they're doing well. Because when they're doing well, you are doing well. You take them on the journey of growing your competence together. So I think, really for me, it's been that has been my story. I still work with MTN. Last year, was the year before the last, I took an adventure. I call it a career adventure. When I do those things, I call them career adventures. A colleague of mine had gone on sabbatical. She served as the executive secretary of the foundation, and I stepped up. It was the same level. You know, some of us will say, what am I going to do? It's not the same level. What is there? But when you have a plan, you will know the things that fit into your plans and the things that don't. And so I checked in, I used the phrase check in. I checked into the role and I had a blast. I learned a lot of things there because that role reports to the board. So I learned, managing a board. I learned a lot of things when being in that role. Of course, attend board meetings, even in my other role from time to time. But this one, you have end-to-end oversight. A lot of people felt, why would you go for it? It's the same role. But you know what? You give life to it. By the time I was now doing it, a lot of people now say, they should have fellow people on my as GM. They should have applied for it. They could have applied for it. I said, well, you didn't apply for it. So it's about, like I said, putting yourself out there, committing yourself, building people, nurturing them as you go along, and just generally making the place better than you left it, making people better than you met them, making the place better than you met it, and making people, better than you met them. So I think that's been it for me in terms of my career. And I'm still work in progress. We're still growing. And I believe that we can only be more than we are today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lara, for I thank you. I see Yemi had to go off the call, but I'll catch up with him later.
Yes, Yemi and Princess as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Odunayo. I mean, listening to your story with loads and loads of leadership nuggets, with insight, it's been a powerful session for me personally. I can't do all the recap because of time. There are a couple of questions that we have already, so we'll just jump straight into the QA session. So I have a question here from Udo. Udo asks, how do you handle whether to accept offers, especially when your experience attracts organizations and offers that are mouth-watering, but you really like and respect your boss? When you have that emotional connection to your boss, and then you have another offer to go work for somewhere else. Yeah. I mean, leaving the known for the unknown.
Oh, no.
I mean, so this person is asking, how do you handle such situation?
Okay, so let me tell you, the first thing is that your boss is your friend, not your compass. You know what a compass is? You navigate with a compass. So your boss is a friend, not a compass. Your boss is a mentor. And let me tell you, the organization, in as much as your boss is not the owner of that organization, what if the organization moves your boss tomorrow? Or your boss shocks you by actually resigning and going somewhere else? What I'm trying to say is that it's a journey. We own our journey. You understand? The journey, it's strictly your journey. No matter how much your boss loves you, they can't make the journey with you. They can speak to the journey. They can make contributions here and there. But ultimately, it is your journey. So it's about what you want. It's not because you don't respect somebody. Let me tell you and shock you. The day your boss is leaving, and I'm not saying it out of, I don't even know your boss, so you can't say I hate your boss. The day they are resigning, they may tell you the day before, and that's if they respect you, or they tell you the day they are leaving. So how do you handle that? You cannot hang your career on someone.
Wow.
And that's why I said your friend should be your boss should be your friend. Friends remain friends regardless of the distance, regardless of the proximity, the geographical lines that have been drawn. So let me ask you a question today. So someone says, okay, maybe Microsoft asked you to come and resume at their head office in the US. You won't go. You will wait for this, your boss. You must not leave. Or the United Nations will call you and say, hey, come and take this role.
International
You
role.
will not go because of your boss. All I'm trying to say is that you must own your journey. People will help along the way, but it's your journey. It is your journey. And the way you own your journey, I'll say something that Steve Harvey said. He said, you know, our career is what we're paid for, but our calling is what we are made for. And the way you can own your journey is when you understand what your calling is. And when I say calling, I don't mean calling to be an imam or calling to be a pastor. That's not what I'm saying. The fact that there's a focus, there's a purpose in life, that truly is your calling. Now, wherever we find ourselves, those platforms enable us to express our calling. So our careers are platforms to express our calling. So please, I don't know if it's a female or male that, as my sister or my brother, you cannot, the reason you respect your boss, the fact that you respect your boss is the reason you will take that offer that is in line with your career plans. Because you need to have a conversation with them to say, they've deposited so much in you and the world needs what they've deposited in you. Have that crucial conversation and move on. The only thing that is constant in life, you know, is change. Move on.
Spot on. Spot on. Thank you so much. I have another question very quickly from Damilola here. What do you do when your line manager doesn't have empathy for his or her team members?
Okay. That's all? That's the question?
Yes, that's the question.
I think first of all, and I tell you, I had a line manager years ago in the bank. I was the head of operations. She was the branch manager. And you see, the head of operations and the branch manager should work hand in hand. But I found that she was not, every time I had an encounter with her, it rubbed off negatively. But every other person in the branch will go to the same person. And, you know, she would attend to them. She would, you wouldn't even know she's the same person. I know what I decided to do. I observed first, because I wanted to be sure that, okay, is she like that to everybody, with everybody, or she's like that with some of us? And I found that I was the only one she was like that with. And you know what I did? It was difficult, but I decided to travel within. What do I mean by traveling within? I decided to check myself first. Are there things I'm doing that is triggering her the wrong way? You understand? That is just setting her off the wrong way. And I found a few things. And I said, okay, when with her, I'm not going to lose my personality. I'm not going to lose myself, but I will behave in a particular, I will speak with her in a particular manner. Hey, not bending down and saying, mama, I don't even know how to do those things. You know, and then we became not very good friends. But I discovered that because I had some certain experience and, you know, I'd gone elsewhere. Funny enough, she was the one that asked me that, could I work in a place where I don't know anybody? And I later realized that, you know, I'm the type of person that can jump out and go anywhere. But her career has been tailored to people and she knew her job. But I realized I needed to change some things. What I'm saying is that, first of all, let's travel within. Find out from yourself, you know, observe. Is he or she like that with everybody? If they're not like that, you know, with everybody, then you need to take a further deep dive into being observant with around the times. What are the triggers for this particular behavior? Now, another thing is, when we're in a team, at times we just think that the line manager is supposed to carry our bags and our baggages. The line manager too comes with their own bags and baggages. So there may be something that is eating that person up. And for me, I think it's always important, even if it's not moved by the move is not made by the line manager. Try for that type of team. It's good to have some very informal sessions out of the office. I know, yes, the pandemic is still here, but at least we can move around a bit. We can do it with a social distancing, wearing our masks and all of that. I think it's important because when you are in an informal setting with people, you get to know them a bit more. So you can know whether there's something eating this person up. You don't know what they're coping with. And I'm not saying that's an excuse for them to lack empathy. But as we've been taught and we know, it is important that we all bring ourselves to work. And so this person might be angry with life about something. And you people, the team members, might rub off on him or her the right way. So my thoughts are that don't see them as superhumans because they are responsible for the team. They're also humans, like they're human. I tell my team members, I'm human. So, but I think if you try to know them better, if you try to get in an informal setting, and it's not the line manager that must move the motion. Communication is a two-way street, it's a two-way process. I think if you do that, trying to understand them better, then it might help. That has worked for me, and so that's what I would say.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. I think I'll take our last question. It reads, how do you handle a situation where you recently joined an organization and the current team are trying to frustrate your efforts on the job? How do you go about it?
Okay, they're trying to frustrate the efforts, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of a new team member in an organization.
Okay. So the first thing I would ask is that you changed organizations. Did you know that organization before you moved there? The reason why I say this is that we talk about core values. And I found that core values are very important. Look, if your core values, if one of your core values is integrity, and you go to work in an organization where all they do is lie to the customer, you understand what I'm saying? You're going to feel like fish out of water. You know, you feel like fish out of water because their practices will be very different from what you know and what you want to. So the first thing is you need to understand and try to establish, is there an alignment? Because the organization is not going to change because of you. They've been telling those lies and it has worked for them. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm not here to judge any organization. It's been working for them. So for you to come, and that's why we must check out organizations. Yes, you will never know 100% an organization of what an organization is before you go to work there. But try and, just snoop around and try and figure out what they're about. So you need to have that alignment. Now, if the alignment is there are many ways that you influence. At that point, you need to deploy influence. You cannot legislate your ideas into being because it seems, there's already a brick wall. You're feeling frustrated or you think you're being frustrated. I think it's a time because you're new to that organization. I don't know how you handled it. Have you handled it like you know what they've been doing before you came is rubbish? They don't know what they are doing. And I'm being very straight up with us now. Or you have handled it by listening to them. You cannot go into an organization and you're changing everything. They're going to step back from you. They're going to move from you and say, let's see how he or she will run this thing by themselves. So if that is the way you've approached it, I think you need to take a step back and now begin to listen to these people. Remember that you've gotten into the organization. These people have their own challenges. Even the people working in your team. And I think it's important to understand and have a view. You might say, oh, but I'm not here to babysit people. But if you're going to we work through people, we work with people, we get our results through people. Even if you're not the lead of the team, you need your team members. You're going to work through your team members to get your own result. So I think it's important to get to know them and what the organization stands for. And there are many ways, like I was talking about deploying the influence tool. You're not there to lord it over them. You're there to, in your own way, contribute to the team. And so when we leverage influence, much more than authority, much more than positional power, it works. Because you can begin to get the people, give them ideas. There's a meeting, just at times even make it look like they're the ones dropping the ideas. I once had a boss say, I will make him look like he's the owner of the idea. Those things don't matter to me, you understand. So far the team shines. So I'll say, hey, you had said, and I think, so I not say the idea. He say, yes, yes, yes. That's how we let me tell you, I once had a boss. How many people here can remember the Nokia communicator phone? That was the height of phones in that during its days. Do you know that I think I had my 1 week off. I was running a course in LBS then. So I had my 1 week off. And then the team members say, because we needed it for competitive intelligence, they came and said, he's not signing the motivation that they wrote. When I read the motivation, I said, you people said you like trouble. I said, add for him, add his own there. How can you write a motivation? All those things is about understanding people's psyche. It's not because you are sucking up to anybody. He didn't even know I had a hand in it. So they now redid the memo with the table of the beneficiaries of the funds. Yours truly, my Oga signed. Because now you have taken care of him. And it's not bad. Because he's going to use it. Everybody's going to give a report on what they're using the funds for. So he will give his own reports too. And if he doesn't give report, they will ask him, why didn't you give a report? So all I'm trying to say is that don't see it that they're trying to frustrate your efforts. Be a bit open-minded, get to know the people. Don't legislate your ideas. You influence your ideas to being. They've been in that organization longer than you. They can become principalities. So if you do that, and again, check the value system of that organization. If it doesn't align, then my advice to you will be that, set yourself a target and try and move on from that, because it will show. You continue to feel some level of frustration. So that's how I would answer that question.
Awesome. And thank you so much. Tatinola also said emotional intelligence. I think that sort of wraps up your response to that question. Wow, it's been a powerful, impactful, instructive session, I must say. Thank you so much. You were just giving out those nuggets, those life-changing principles, regardless of where we find ourselves, either as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as employees, as employers, as mothers, as sisters. Everything around our life, those principles, once we apply them, definitely it's going to help propel us to the success we want to achieve. More importantly is also the fact that as women celebrating our International Women's Day month with the theme, choose to challenge. You've been very open, sharing your challenges in your career across different phases of your career and how you've chosen to challenge the opposition, the politics, the barriers across various areas. It's been an awesome learning session, and thank you so much, Ma. As we wrap up, given the theme of our International Women's Day month, which is Choose to Challenge, and having listened to you, what would be your parting word to every woman out there in terms of growing women in leadership? When I say women in leadership, it doesn't have to be a position, but growing ourselves as individuals, leading ourselves, and of course, ensuring that we continue to thrive in our various endeavors as entrepreneurs, as employees, as business owners. What would be your parting word to us?
Okay, so I'll take a quote from this book, and if you haven't read it, please try and read it. It's a book by Napoleon Hill. It's Think and Grow Rich. I try to read that book every year. Not that I now get to read it every year, but at least I open it and I take some lessons from it every year. Think and Grow Rich. And he says, there are no limitations to the mind except those that we acknowledge. He says, poverty and riches are offsprings of thought. And what am I saying? I'm saying that regardless of where we are today, regardless of who we are, the gender, where we found ourselves, it's about us in the end. We have in our hands the power to become, you understand? It's about what we carry here. Do we believe? And you know, it's the offspring of our thinking. What are we thinking? We're in the mental age. Yes, they say we're in the digital age. I always tell people, I say, no, I say we're in the mental age, the age where if you can leverage your mental capabilities and your capacity, you can do anything. That is where we are. And so there are no limitations to our minds except the ones that we acknowledge. So my charge to us is that we are custodians. Wherever we are, whatever you have, wherever you found yourself, you are holding it in custody for other people. What do I mean? You are like someone who's opened the door and you leave it open for other people to come in. And so this week, make it a duty, choose to challenge, choose to remember that there are no limitations except those that we acknowledge. Choose to leverage your mental capacity to the best, you know, that you can. And we'll be, you know, it's a process of becoming. Change the narrative, your narrative. Do something, change it and move it forward. Thank you so much for having me. I don't take it for granted. You know, when people listen, thank you for listening to everyone on the platform. I wish I could call everyone, but thank you for listening. And thank you, Coach Lara, for having me. And if you don't yet have the book, my HR Storybook, I think you need to get it. Not only because I wrote a foreword, but I told Coach Lara that I didn't write a foreword. I wrote a foreword. You know, the book is something else. It's, for me, it's mentorship on the go. People tell their stories and you can learn from them. And you get into, and from all walks of life. You know, plus some people, they're extremely popular with them, they're in the book, and some people in their own quiet corner doing, you know, moving mountains, and then you would see and it would be clear. Thank you very much again. I've also been blessed. I must tell you, I've learned a lot now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I can see a lot of people. I'm sorry I can't mention all your names, but I acknowledge your presence, and I'm deeply grateful for spending your time with us to learn. Thank you so much, everyone. Can we have someone from the participants just go off mute and give the vote of thanks? I mean, we're here to learn and talk, no script, no preparation. If you've been blessed, feel free, go off mute and just give the vote of thanks on behalf of everyone this evening.
Hi, Coach Lara. Hi, everyone. My name is Peju.
Hello, Peju. Oh, Peju, yes, please go ahead. Thank you, sis.
Okay, thank you so much, madam. This has been an awesome time, and especially value for time. Thank you for bearing it all, for stressing the importance of owning our journey and being very conscious of our development. This Sunday afternoon, when most of us should be resting, but you know, we decided to listen to you, and this has been so much value for time. Thank you for bearing it all, for putting yourself out there and letting us know that it is possible. Thank you, Coach Lara, also for, you know, heeding the call and running these sessions continuously. We know it takes a lot, but you have been consistent. Thank you. And on behalf of everyone on this call, I want to say a big thank you for spending this time with us and impacting us this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So we can contact Odunayo via her social media platform. She dropped her LinkedIn account name on the chat, so feel free to reach out to her. If you also want to get a copy of my HR storybook, I have the details on the screen. Feel free to reach out to any of the avenues that you can get a copy of the book, either the hard copy or the soft copy. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, women. Keep leading, keep succeeding, keep soaring, keep doing great and amazing things. And remember, you can become whatever you want to become. There is no limitation, regardless of your gender, regardless of your shape, your size, or your background. You can become anything you want to become. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening and have a great week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Coach
Thank
Lara.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So if we cannot go off mute and just say thank you to Odunayo, let her hear our voices.
Thank you, Madam Odunayo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach
Thank
Lara.
you so much. Thank you, Madam Odunayo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Lara. Thank you, Madam Odunayo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you, Madam Odunayo, for the time.
Thank you.
Well
Thank
spent.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A beautiful story. Very inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Best
Thanks,
regards.
Coach Lara. Have a wonderful week.
And you to everyone.
You too.
Very
Bye.
well done. Thank you.
Stay safe all. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.